Ever had one of those days where you just stop and wonder, why did I do that? Or what's actually going on in my head right now? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden science of you. We're going to see how psychology shapes pretty much everything, all within the span of a single ordinary day.
Okay, let's be honest. When I say the word psychology, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For a lot of us, it's probably something like this, right? The classic therapist's couch, maybe some of those weird ink blot tests.
And look, that's definitely part of the picture, but what if I told you that's just scratching the surface? What if psychology is actually this invisible force, this hidden science that's running in the background of your entire day, from the second you wake up? So let's get a solid definition to work with, straight from our source material. At its core, psychology is a science. It's all about the connection between three things: how our brain works, what we actually do, our behavior, and the world all around us. You could almost think of it as the instruction manual for why we do what we do.
So let's put this to the test. Let's start our day and see just where this science pops up. First up, your morning routine and what's happening inside your own mind.
So the alarm blares, and even before you've had that first sip of coffee, your brain is already firing on all cylinders. It's pulling up your to-do list, organizing what you have to get done, basically planning your whole day.
And boom, right there, that's brain science and cognitive psychology in action. This whole area is about the nuts and bolts of your mind, how you think, how you remember things, how you make all those tiny little decisions that get you out the door. It's the engine room of your brain.
Okay, so now you're up, maybe brushing your teeth, and your mind starts to wander a bit. You think about where you are in your career, you think about who you were in high school, and you kind of marvel at how much has changed. You're looking at your own story.
Well, that's developmental psychology. And here's the thing a lot of people miss. It's not just about kids. It's the science of your entire life's journey, how you grow, adapt, and change from one chapter to the next. It's about the whole arc.
But maybe this morning's a little rough. You're feeling that weight of stress, a little bit of anxiety, and that thought creeps in. Is this just a bad mood, or is it, something more? Should I talk to someone?
This is where it's super helpful to know the difference between two fields that sound really similar. You've got clinical psychology, which often focuses on treating more severe, complex mental health issues, and then you have counseling psychology, which is more about helping people navigate life's stresses and challenges to improve their well-being. Both are incredibly important.
All right, you're up, you're ready, and you're heading out into the world. So let's shift gears. How does psychology explain how we deal with everything and everyone outside of our own heads? The people, the places, the systems we're part of.
So you get to work. And immediately, you're not just an individual anymore. You're part of this complex system. You're trying to figure out how your team works together, how to read your boss, how to just fit in and be effective.
Welcome to the world of what they call IO psychology, industrial and organizational. This is literally the science of people at work. It asks the big questions, like what makes a team click? How do you build a great company culture? How do you become a better leader? It's all about making the workplace work better for people.
Okay, it's lunchtime. You whip out your phone and you start scrolling. You see a friend's incredible vacation photos and you feel that tiny little sting of jealousy. Then you see an inspiring post and feel a little burst of motivation. Your emotions are on a roller coaster and you haven't even left your desk. That right there is the essence of social psychology. It's the study of how other people, even through a screen, have this massive impact on us. It explains why we compare ourselves, why we conform, and how our entire sense of self is shaped by our place in the world relative to others.
The workday's done. You're heading home, and you come to a fork in the road. You can take the loud, busy, crowded street, or you can cut through the quiet park with the trees and the open space. You pick the park. Why?
You might not think much of it, but that choice is a perfect little case study in climate and environmental psychology. This field looks at how our physical surroundings affect our mood, our stress levels, and our behavior. It's why you feel calmer in that park, and it's why architects use natural light to design better schools and offices.
So, we've seen psychology in our heads and in our day-to-day world, but it gets even more specialized. Now let's do a quick lightning round of some of the incredible ways psychology is put into action. I mean, think about it. You've got forensic psychologists who work within the legal system. You've got health psychologists figuring out how to get us to stick to healthy habits. Sports psychologists help top athletes get their head in the game. And get this, human factor psychologists, they're the people who make sure that new app on your phone is actually intuitive and easy to use. It's everywhere.
Okay, let's zoom back out. We've journeyed through an entire day. We've seen psychology at work in all these different moments. But what's the big takeaway here? What does this mean for your story? And believe me, We've only just peeked into this world. According to our source, the American Psychological Association, there are more than 15 major divisions of psychology. 15. That's 15 different scientific ways of trying to understand what makes us us. So, if you remember one thing today, let it be this. Psychology isn't just something that happens on a couch in an office. It is the invisible architecture of your life. It shapes everything from the technology you use to the way you interact with your family.
Which leaves us with one last question to chew on. Now that you can see all these hidden threads, what does your own psychological story look like? What have you noticed about your day?